Hello! Welcome to the best books of 2023, Melodious version. I read 40-something books this year. I don't actually know the specific number because I keep a journal of all the books that I've read, and guess who can't find the journal? I can't! That's who! I was very upset because now I'm like, how do I know what I read this year? So instead, I just looked at every single book that I had and was like, okay, I remember reading that, I remember reading that, there we go. I don't know why I'm holding this here, but I'm just gonna hold it like this for the whole video. Disclaimer, disclaimer. I will say that all the books in this video, all 5-star books in my opinion. And I had more 5-star books, but I also need my journal to figure out which books they were. I have created different categories for each book, so you get your choice, I guess. All right, without further ado, let us begin the awards ceremony. Our first category of the evening is Best of Colleen Hoover. I know! So you may be thinking, why does she have her own separate category? And I feel like Colleen Hoover books are their own genre. That's why. I know it's controversial. Some people love Colleen Hoover, some people hate Colleen Hoover. I feel like it's popular to say you hate Colleen Hoover. I don't know. I liked her books, so they're going in my video. Of the Colleen Hoover books that I read this year, the runner-up for this category, I know, I feel so official. Runner-ups? What is this? The runner-up is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Okay, so this is the runner-up. She's not the winner, but she was still really good. She had twists and turns. I was there along the ride, the emotional roller coaster. It was a very good book. And there's also It Ends With Us and then It Starts With Us. That's like the sequel to it. So do I recommend this book? Yeah, because it made it into this video. But she's not the winner. Oh no. The winner of Best of Colleen Hoover books that I read this year. I don't know if they came out. I don't think they came out this year. I don't know. I'm not keeping track of these things. Anyway, is November 9th. I love this book. There was a plot twist that had me shook and shocked. This is the book that, you know, I think back on of how it made me feel in that moment, and I love moments like that. So yes, this is the book that I say gets the Dundie. Moving forward, we have Best of Summer Vibes. So I don't have a runner-up for this category because the only other summery book that I read this year was The Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy, which I liked, but for me, I just also didn't like. Anyway, I digress. I'm in a very noisy chair. The Dundie for Best Summer Vibes goes to The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. This book, it was so good. I feel like, should I be doing book descriptions? Probably. Okay, so all I'll tell you about this book, because I don't want to give too much away, but I would say it's family vibes, dealing with grief and loss, but there's still a little romance. And it's not like super dramatic, but oh my gosh, I loved the setting of this place and all the characters and the huge family. It was just so very heartwarming. And so that's why she gets the Dundie Award. I gave this book 5 stars. I gave this book 5 stars. I read it on the beach too, so you know that helped with the summer vibes. If you read a book this summer for 2024, do this one. Moving on, we have the best book to make you sob, meaning a book that you're just crying fiercely, which can be seen as a bad thing, but sometimes it's very cathartic, especially if it's that time of the month and you just feel sad, but you don't know why you feel sad, but you just want to cry about something because you're like, I just need a reason to be sad. So here's the book for you. And the Dundie for best book to make you sob goes to You've Reached Sam by Dustin Dale? I think I said that right. Anyway, this book, holy cow. Oh my gosh, did I cry. But they were good tears. And so the premise of this book, the vague premise of this book is that she has a boyfriend, but he died in a car accident. And so she's dealing with that grief. But she calls his phone and he actually answers from like the afterlife kind of thing. I so recommend this book. I mean, I loved it. But it will make you cry. So if you're not in the mood to cry, you probably don't want to read this. Ow, my heart. That's how I feel about this book. And so, yep, winner, woo! The Dundie for Best Romance, oh, actually, sorry, never mind. The runner-up for Best Romance goes to... I don't know why I keep doing a drum roll thing with my tongue. Anyway, it's Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. So this was my first Sarah Adams book and I gave it 5 stars, but I actually had my friend read it and she couldn't finish it. But then I had my other friend read it and she's loving it. Really just depends on the person, I guess. It's very fast-paced, so that's what I love about it. And I personally like the romance. It's very lighthearted, just there's no smut. And it's not really that dramatic either. It's just a fun, silly premise. It was a book that I picked up and wasn't expecting to like, especially because the dialogue kind of threw me off at first, but then I picked it up and I loved it. And again, this book is just, man, the way it made me feel so good. It made me feel so good. I think I finished this in like 4 or 5 hours, so yeah. Highly, oh wait, just kidding. You're not the winner, but you're the runner-up. The Dundie for Best Romance for 2023 that I read this year goes to The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. So I had read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I really liked the book. I didn't like love it. I mean, it was good, I would recommend it, but I wasn't, I don't know, it's not that 5-star vibe that you get when you read a book. You're like, ah. Okay, this book, however, again, was not expecting to rate highly or honestly love. I read this in one sitting too, and I loved it. It's kind of like Groundhog's Day. I'm just doing vague explanations of the books because I don't want to spoil anything for you. I realized I should have done an explanation for the other one. Here's a little explanation of Cheat Sheet. So basically, she is a dancer, he's a football player, they both like each other. That's it, that's all you need to know. It's kind of like Groundhog's Day, and she just keeps repeating the same day over and over and over again. And yeah, it's a premise that's been done before, but I loved how she did it, and I just felt so good after reading this, and just so happy, and I really love this book, and the characters, and the premise, and it actually, I thought, because you know how you kind of guess plot lines in your head, but then it didn't end, or well, it didn't go the way that I thought it was gonna go, but yeah, it was a good ending, great story. I really love this book, so that's the winner! Okay, now we get into my favorite category, fantasy. So I have 2 runner-ups and 2 winners because I could not decide, guys. I really couldn't. You would not be able to make me choose between them. So for runner-ups, the first runner-up is going to be, sorry, gotta grab it. The Shutter Me series. I loved the series, but there's a big asterisk. These freaking novellas. Holy cow! Okay, so if you were to look up the reading order for this series, it's like book, novella, book, novella, book, novella, book, novella. But in these novellas, there's 2 novellas. It is so confusing, and honestly, just my personal opinion, some other people might think differently, I feel like the novellas ruined the series for me, but like if I were to take the novellas out of the equation, this was a fantastic series. I flew through it, I loved it, I devoured it. Wow, I don't think I've ever flown through a series like I did this one. But what I mean to say is these novellas they just, for me, they didn't add anything that made the story better. There's only one novella, I can't remember which one. I would know if I had my reading journal, but I don't! There's one novella that I was like, oh my gosh! When reading the next book, I was like, haha, I knew that person's perspective because I'd read that novella. Otherwise, the other novellas were just frustrating to me because then you'd read the book and it was basically like rereading the novella, and it didn't add anything for me that I didn't already know or would assume that the characters were feeling. It just kind of ruined it for me. So that aside, I know that doesn't sound like the most glowing review, but I swear these books are really, really, really good. The premise is just that she has not a superpower, I guess you could, it's not a curse, but basically anyone who touches her, or if she touches anyone, she kills them. It's a dystopian society, so maybe is it fantasy? I don't know, but it's really good. And then the second runner-up for Best Fantasy 2023 is gonna be Fourth Wing. Okay, you've probably heard a lot about this. I loved this book. Freaking loved it so much. Premise of this, you have dragons and you have dragon riders. That's it, that's all I'm gonna say. I loved the romance in this. I especially loved the dragons. It was a crazy, crazy kind of book, but this is more high fantasy, I would say. So there's a lot of world building, and it may be slightly confusing to those who don't usually read books kind of like that, and it is very thick too. So I know that I was slightly intimidated by it at first, but then again flew through this book because it was amazing. I literally I had reactions out loud, and that's how I knew, like, okay, I love this book. when it gets me to react aloud and not just in my mind. Highly recommend Fourth Wing. I tried reading Iron Flame. I still need to get through it. I only read like the first chapter, but I wasn't feeling sucked into it. So I'll give it another try, but I also heard not so very good things about Iron Flame. But nonetheless, I would still highly recommend reading Fourth Wing. There's a reason it was like a huge bestseller this year. And now we get down to the nitty gritty. So I also want to add like a second category for this specific book that is still fantasy, but for me it was like the best unexpected book. And by unexpected, I mean I had no idea what to expect. I just read like the Barnes & Noble employee suggestion. I was like, okay, I'll try it. That sounds like something I'd like. Holy cow, I loved it. And I can't believe I don't know anyone else talking about this book. And by book, I mean it's kind of a series because it's duology, but then there's also, I wouldn't call it a novella. Is it a trilogy? I don't know. I'll explain later. Winner number 1 of 2 for the Dundie for the best fantasy book of 2023, there's so many words coming out of my mouth right now, has to be Daughter of the Pirate King. The Barnes & Noble employee suggestion just said female Jack Sparrow, and I was like, I'm sold. Let me read it. I loved this book. It was super easy to read, such a quick read too, but it was so much fun. I loved it so much. And then the second book, like after I finished this book, I immediately ordered the second one to pick up at Barnes & Noble because I was like, I need to know what happens next. I cannot wait. Daughter of the Siren Queen is the second book. I loved both books equally. Oh gosh, it's upside down. I loved both books equally. They were so good. It was so good. Please, you have to read this. You have to read this book. Please, 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 please. That's why she's the winner, okay? I love this book. I love the romance. I love the characters. I loved the plot. I loved everything about it. And again, the only thing I'm gonna tell you about the plot is just female Jack Sparrow. That's all you need to know. It's great. And I just finished today, actually, the third book. The character in this book is a character that you know in the other 2 books, but you don't know as well because she's more like a side character. But oh, I love this one too. I love this series so much. I really do. I love it. And I love these books. They were more expensive to get like the sprayed edges, but I'm so glad I got them because they're so cool. And the final winner for Best Fantasy 2023, the Dundie, goes to none other than... Oh wait, I have to grab it. My tongue is failing me. Vow of Thieves. Oh gosh, I'm totally messed that up. Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves. I love this series. It was so good. It was so good. Again, when you think back on books that just made you feel something amazing, it was this one. And like I said in my other book video that I had made when I read the series, I cannot believe that I slept on this for as long as I did, because my best friend got this for me last year Christmas, or 2 years ago Christmas? Or Christmas some time ago. And I was too intimidated to read it, but I was like, okay, well, let me start it. And so then I had started it and I maybe got through like the first 3 chapters, I want to say, but I was like, it's just too much. Because again, this is more, it's also a lot of world building, and she just kind of dumps you into the story, so it's a little hard to follow along at first. But I swear, if I could go back to my future self and be like, just one more chapter, hold on for one more chapter, holy cow, I loved this book so much. And I love the second book equally as much. It wasn't like, oh, the first book was really good, the other book, nah, not so much. No. I loved these books, okay? So honestly, for fantasy-wise, like if you had to read one of the books that I have recommended, it would either be Dance with Thieves and Vow of Thieves or the Pirate King Queen Siren series. I swear I loved those books so much. But again, that's just fantasy. If you don't like reading fantasy, then you have all the other romance things that I recommended. It was so good. So that's the end, as my chair squeaks. That is the end of my Best of 2023 Dundie Award Show. I hope you pick up one of these books that made it to this award list this year. And I have so many more that I would recommend. But I can't find my reading journal. So once I do, I'll make a video on all of the books that I read this year. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. I should have started with that. Have fun reading or just watching this video and procrastinating reading because you're like, I got a lot to do. Same girl, same. Okay, and bye! Happy 2024!